Hey guys, it's Janet, and welcome to Janet Being Janet, the channel where I just express my opinions, and sometimes I, do a lot of personal stuff. But anywho, I've tried to make this video a few different times, and I have failed because I'm trying to be sensitive about the situation. But I was on YouTube, and I came across something that bothered me quite a bit. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of a story time, and then you'll understand why I was bothered. My son was born with his cord wrapped around his neck. And we then found from there that he had tracheomalacia. What that is you have a flap in your throat, and when you swallow, it closes. When you breathe, it opens. My son's did not function correctly. All right, so then we go on to our next step, which was trying to figure out what's best for him. We had to go to a specialist for this. We spent a week in the hospital. And during that week, he was put on some medication. We brought him home, and he had a seizure. So we ended up back at the hospital. We were at the hospital, got a spinal tap. It came back clear. We got sent back home. So then we progress to, at this point, 3 months old, where he had to have an MRI done of his brain after having a seizure. I was young. I really was. And I'm going to get to the point of the reason why I'm making this video and why I was so bothered by a certain channel. I was young, and I didn't know any different than to believe what the doctors had to say. So they tell me that he has the brain of a normal 3-month-old child. Okay, we go along with this. So then time goes on, and he is not speaking. He is actually pointing at things, going, Now, physically, he had grown exactly like he should have. He met all of his achievements on time. Sometimes he met them before he should have. So everything was on point there. But mentally, we knew that there was something going on. All right, so we're going on about our life. He hits 4 years old. We put him in a special school so that they can help him meet his needs. Now, in the meantime, he had a speech pathologist that came to the house to try to help us out. And we had other specialists come to the house to try to help with, just showing us ways to, accommodate him. Because that's the point, is we had to live our life around our son at that point. He had to have multiple eye surgeries because he was born cross-eyed and lazy-eyed. And so they had to do muscle relocation on him. So we just lived our life the way that we were supposed to live our life for our son, going to doctors, going to specialists. We end up having to go to Children's for a urologist. And somehow or another, we ended up going from urologist to brain scans. He had to be hooked up because they thought that he was having silent seizures. Well, we had already been down the road of having a seizure. So now we're dealing with silent seizures. Okay. We go on from that point to have another MRI done of my son's brain. He was 10 years old. And we are in the room. He had been put to sleep, put in the machine. And then the nurse comes in, and she asked me some questions that I hope no parent ever gets asked. One was, when you were pregnant, were you in a car accident? I said no. 2, she asked if he had ever fallen. And I said, well, yeah, he's had eye surgery, he's fallen, he was walking, and so of course he fell. She said, no, I mean from a 3-story building. I said, no. Then she asked me the question that broke me. Was my son ever hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat? That broke me as a parent. So they proceed to tell me, after holding up the MRI that they did of my son and the x-rays, they proceed to show me the bruise that is on the back of my son's brain. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but that bruise was there in his 3-month-old MRI. I did not know that. Like I said, I was young. I didn't know any better. I just took their word for it. So we are dealing with a bruise on the brain. Well, we have to go to see a foundation that wanted to do a little bit of research on him. Okay, that's fine. Anything to help my son, I was willing to do absolutely anything. They did a case study on him because his vision was 20/20, but he wasn't able to see 20/20. We tried glasses. We tried so many different things. Nothing worked. All right. Well, now then, we are a couple of years later after that. I've accepted that, this is what my son has. And developmentally, he was on point. Mentally, not at all. And I knew there was something going on. Just as a parent, when there's something going on. So then we end up in a new school district. And I'm trying to get my son enrolled into special needs classes because he needs them. I mean, he's been in school since he was 4 years old, and, he now was speaking, and, he was communicating with us, but I knew he needed more. The school said that, hey, he doesn't qualify. Well, now, mind you, we had so many people come in and out of our house. It was absolutely amazing how many people got involved in, helping me with my son. But we had a counselor telling us that my son was going to end up regressing backwards. So, in other words, he was going to be going back to his infant stage. And that, as a parent, I wasn't worried about myself. I was more worried about him. Well, after this, I end up fighting tooth and nail to get my son evaluated because I wanted to see exactly what was going on with my son. I knew there was something wrong with him. Now, like I said, brain damage. He had already had an allergic reaction, so he had already had seizures. My son has CVI, cortical vision impairment. What that is he can see something, but his brain doesn't process it the same way. So his brain is bruised. He won't drive. I mean, he's legally blind in one eye. He's got no peripheral vision. The reason why I'm choosing to share this on YouTube and hopefully reach the person that I'm trying to reach is because my son will tell you all about it. I mean, he'll tell you everything, and he'll overshare. He does it a lot. But back to the school story. So I am fighting tooth and nail to get him to be tested for autism. Sure enough, 12 years old, the school was wrong. He was autistic. He is autistic. He is high-functioning autistic. Jordan would go to summer camps that were made just for special needs kids. And, Jordan would fit right in because he was with his own. Jordan's afraid of large crowds. Jordan keeps to himself. He just wants to, he'll get interested in a game or something, and then that's what he's interested in. And I know some of y'all want me to just get to the point, but, I mean, there's a reason for this. While my son was going through some of his allergic reactions to his medication, I would have to go and lay with my son and make sure that my son didn't hit himself during a fit. Make sure that my son wasn't, falling out of the bed. When he was really young, he used to take his head and slam his head into the floor. And I would always put my hand underneath his head to try to, help with that. But it was his world. We just lived in it. That was the point of it. We had doctors advising us on what was going to happen next. And we just had to be prepared for it. That's just the bottom line. So, where this video is going is I was watching one of the many channels that are out there. I was watching one on Without a Crystal Ball. And something was said that really, really bothered me. And it was that her son is easily manipulated. So is mine. Yep, so is mine. But she made a comment about she was afraid that her son, or she knew that her son would hurt someone. That bothered me. It bothered me a lot. And let me tell you the reason why it bothered me. It's because I have a special needs son. I'm not just somebody talking that, just thinks they have an opinion on exactly how to handle a situation. I mean, I'm talking as a parent who has been through hour-long fits, hours of fits. I'm talking about a nonverbal child. I'm talking about a child with brain damage. I'm talking about an autistic child. I'm talking about a child that has ADHD. I'm talking about a child that is bipolar. My child has been diagnosed with a lot of things. And yes, through the years, he has outgrown so much stuff, but I mean, he still has his diagnosis. To hear another parent say that they are afraid that their son, or they think that their son could be manipulated into hurting someone, that is very bothersome. Being a parent to a special needs child, I'm just saying that you need to teach your child right from wrong. And my child knows right from wrong. He may make some choices that, I'm on internet, apologizing to people on Facebook. Yeah, that's another story in itself. But that's your responsibility. As a parent, you teach your child certain things. Yes, the counselors used to talk to my kid. The doctors used to talk to my kid. But the thing is I always talk to them, because I have 2 kids. I have 2 boys. I always talk to him. I would always ask him if there was anything, that he needed to understand. He doesn't fully know how the world works, but he understands a lot about the world. And he sees the world through very special lenses, is what I say. He is one of the strongest people I know. He has handled a lot more than most people could handle. And so, I just look at him for encouragement every single day, because every day he shines. Every day he comes up with something new. So as a parent, sitting here listening to someone say that, their child could possibly hurt someone else, I just think to myself, what are you thinking? I think to myself, how could you even as a parent think of something like that? You have got to have more faith in your child. You have got to sit here and say, my child can do anything for the good. They told me that my son, I would be taking care of him for the rest of my life. They told me that my son would live with me for the rest of my life. That's not true. They prepared me for so much stuff that isn't even, it's the furthest thing from the truth at this point. He is a senior. He is about to graduate. Yes, he has a learning disability. Yes, he's on, I don't even know what grade level, to be honest with you, because I quit having him tested after a certain point, because there was no point in it. Jordan learns at his own speed. He learns at his own rate. I know that my 5th grader has surpassed him. I can tell you that. But as a parent, how can you just discount your child? How can you even think that the worst could be done by a child? I don't know the age of the child. Like I said, I was on YouTube and I come across this whole thing of Without a Crystal Ball. I came across, all these compilations. I was watching so many of them, and I was just absolutely dumbfounded when that was said. And it was something that I felt like I had to talk about. And if anything, just to say, you've got to have more faith in your child. You have to. You have to be a parent, and you have to teach your child right from wrong. Yes, He may mess up, kind of like I just did. But he may mess up occasionally. So what? All kids mess up occasionally. All kids make mistakes. I've had nurses. I've had the state come in. I cannot tell you how many times I had CPS come in. And it wasn't for anything that I did. It was because my son said something absolutely crazy and they had to come in and they had to investigate. And finally they gave up on it because they realized that my son was overstretching the truth. And so they finally marked it in their files that he was a special needs. And I say special needs because my son is very special to me. Both of my kids are very special to me. And I will do anything in my power whatsoever at all to make sure that they are taken care of in a way they need to be taken care of. But my message to you, I don't know what your son has. I honestly don't. I know he's been in and out of the hospital. I understand that. I have heard or I have watched things that have said something about, learning disabilities. My son, like I said, is, oh my goodness gracious, to use old word terms, he's the apple of my eye. I'm telling you, both of my boys are, but he impresses me every single day. So I sit here and I think, if I was to say something like that about my son, what would my son be thinking about me right now? Because I know your son's younger. What in the world would my son be thinking about me? What in the world would he be thinking about himself? I always want my son to think that he can do anything as long as it's legal. That's the main thing. But I always want him to think that he can do anything that he sets his mind to. Now, we're realistic with our goals. He knows he can't drive. He knows he can't do certain things. We're realistic. But his brain damage doesn't change him who he is personally. He has a heart of gold. And so that saying something like that would absolutely break his heart. And I know that. So I couldn't do it. Like I said, I am absolutely dumbfounded how a parent could sit back and think that their son would do something horrible just because of what they have going on mentally. That's the only way to put it. I have another child. My youngest son. He's going to be my problem child. Yep, he is. Because, yeah, he's not the one that I have to worry more about my other child than I do with my son with autism. Because my other child is fearless. My autistic son, not so much. But I've taught him to embrace every single bit of his disability. I have talked to him through everything that he's had to go through. And he's had to go through a lot. So I'm not just a person sitting here with no kids, because I've seen it. There are people on here with absolutely no kids saying, oh, she should be so shamed, she should be this, she should be that. I'm a parent who's sitting here saying, I've been through a whole heap of stuff. But my son is, and I say my son a lot, I should say Jordan, because I do talk about my family on here. I do talk about myself. Jordan is about to graduate and he's about to move out. That's what he wants to do. He wants to move out. I have prepared him for that. So the doctors that told me back then that he was going to regress, they now tell me they're sorry. And this is all my opinion. 100% my opinion, 100% my story, 100% the way I see things. I'm not trying to go on a rant here. I'm just trying to get the point across that I have a special needs child. I've been through it. I've been through a whole lot. He's been through a whole lot. And he's made it. Graduation is right around the corner for him. Now, he may not lead the same life as everyone else does, but he's going to live the life that's special to him. And your son can too. I just don't want you to discount your child just because of his disabilities. I don't want you to discount your child and not have faith in your child just because of his disabilities. His disabilities is what makes him special. Jordan's disabilities are what make him special. What he accomplishes every single day makes him special. When I sat down to film this, over and over, I was like, I cannot bring a child into this. But the thing is I'm telling my story to hopefully put a little bit of encouragement out there that it is possible. Things may not be the way that you see them and the way that you want them to happen, but it is possible to raise a child that has autism, and sorry, have to adjust, but it is possible to have a child go on and succeed in life. You just have to instill that in them. So think about your child. Think about before you speak, before you say certain things, think about him. Think about how he's going to feel. My son knows I'm filming this. My son knows I'm putting this message out there. He looks at it as, yay, look at what I can do now. I am almost able to be out of the house. He says, Mom's still going to take care of me. Mom is still going to make my decisions for me, but I'm going to be able to move out of the house. I'm going to be able to do other things. And I always want him to look forward to stuff like that. In my opinion, it's being too much focused on about his disabilities and not focusing on exactly what he can become when he gets older. There's stories about how, I'm not even going to get into all the different stories that I heard and all that. I just wanted to, like I said, come on here, be open, be honest, and just say that you have got to think about what you say. You have got to sit here and say that your son can do anything. I might not have been in the exact same shoes that you're in. I might not have had the same things going on with my son, but I had a lot. Pretty much lived in a hospital for a while. You just learn to be there for your child and do what your child needs you to do. Your life revolves around that child. Regardless of work, regardless of anything, your life is to revolve around that child. That child is not supposed to fit into your life. So I just really feel bad hearing something so awful about a child. I think personally that there's going to be explaining that needs to be done when your son gets older. Like I said, my opinion of some of the things that you've said. And there are things that you are going to be ashamed of saying, in my opinion, completely in my opinion. You're going to be ashamed of saying certain things because he may blow right past all the expectations. Then he's going to see that you had absolutely no faith in him. He's going to see that you just doubted who he could become as an adult and doubted where he could go. We've heard clips of him talking. So at least, at one moment they say he's nonverbal. The next moment he is verbal. I don't know. But my child was nonverbal for years. So if that is the case, I understand that. hour-long fits. I understand that. There's so much that I understand to a point, but then whenever I see other things, it bothers me so badly that a child can be discounted. I don't understand it. I choose to believe in children. I choose to believe that they're going to go on and do something good. I choose to believe that that child is going to go on and blossom. And I will do that for any child that I see. I will try to encourage absolutely any child. So my message is pretty much just watch what you say. You have got to, because you do not know what the actual future holds. You don't know. The doctors don't always know. They may have an idea, but they don't always know. I am very thankful that my son has come so far in life, and there is nowhere out there that he is going to see anywhere that I doubted him one time. There is nowhere out there that he's going to see that I said he couldn't do something within reason, or that he could do something like a heinous crime. There's nowhere out there that my son is ever going to hear that. And there's a reason for that, because I never want him to hear anything like that. I never want there to be a possibility of him hearing anything like that. And yes, I sound very, it's because I'm very passionate about this. I really am. I want everybody to have faith in their kids. But as parents, we've got to teach them that. So that's my spew. If you ended up watching this all the way through, thank you very much. This channel is me with just a lot of opinions on a lot of different things, and you may not agree with me. If you listen to my story all the way through, I want to say thank you very much, and I hope that you got a little bit more of insight into my life and the way that I actually think whenever it comes to my son. If you have more questions, or you have issues with, how do you handle something, if I can possibly help, I will try my best to help. Just don't give up. Don't ever give up. That's my main thing. So if you need me in the comment section, please feel free to have at it. I have really thick skin, so just have at it, whatever you want to say. But for the rest of y'all, which, like I said, I don't know that this is ever going to reach her. I don't think this is ever gonna, go anywhere besides the fact of me just sitting down and me filming this and me just putting it on YouTube, so that people know a little bit more about my story and a little bit more about me as a person. And my son, he may only be 17, but he can tell you everything that I just told you, plus a whole lot more. Oh my goodness, he's got a memory that some things I don't remember, he can hold so much over my head. Yep, that's a thing. It really is. Alright guys, I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, and I hope that I help at least one person. It doesn't have to be the person that I'm trying to reach. I hope that I help just one person have a little bit more inside themselves of not worrying so much. Not saying my circumstance is going to be like yours. No circumstance is the same. But just hope that you know that there's people going out there through struggles. And you just have to have faith. And you have to just watch what you say. That's the main thing. Alright guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye.